All right, get ready to dive deep with us today as we explore some pretty common signs that your body might be trying to tell you something, like when you feel a
Hmm.
bit off or maybe you're just not quite yourself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Today, we're going to be looking at those little hints and clues as potential signs that you might be lacking some vital nutrients. And to guide us on this journey, we have Dr. Sten Ekberg and his YouTube video, 10 Signs Your Body is Lacking Vital Nutrients. So let's jump right in.
Sounds good.
Now, Dr. Ekberg kicks things off with something I think we can all relate to. Fatigue.
Oh, yeah,
That feeling just being completely wiped out.
absolutely.
And if you're constantly running on fumes, he suggests that you might want to consider potential deficiencies in things like iron B12 or
Yeah.
other B vitamins.
Right, because all of those are crucial for energy production within our cells.
Okay, so explain that a little bit more for me.
Well, think of it this way. B vitamins are crucial for building healthy red blood cells, which are basically like tiny cargo ships carrying oxygen throughout your body.
Okay, I like that analogy.
And iron is essential for producing hemoglobin, which is the protein that actually grabs onto that oxygen.
Oh, so it's like the little hook.
Exactly. So no iron, no hemoglobin, no oxygen delivery, and no wonder we feel exhausted.
Okay, so that explains why I need a nap, just thinking about climbing the stairs.
Right.
But it's not just about feeling tired, right? Dr. Ekberg also mentions magnesium and CoQ10 as being essential for the final step of energy production.
Right. We need those to actually convert that delivered oxygen into usable energy, a molecule called ATP.
ATP.
ATP, exactly.
Okay, so what's ATP?
It's like the energy currency of the cell.
Oh, okay.
It's what our cells use to power all of their functions.
Interesting.
So you can think of it like that you have all the ingredients for a delicious meal, but you're lacking the stove to cook it. You need magnesium and CoQ10 to light that fire and create that cellular fuel.
Wow. I love that analogy. I'm never going to forget that.
Good.
Okay, so fatigue is a big one. But Dr. Ekberg says weakness and poor coordination can also be signs that our bodies are lacking something.
That's right.
It's almost like our internal wiring isn't quite connecting.
Yeah, it's like a faulty connection.
So what's going on there?
Well, basically, your nerves and muscles rely on a constant flow of energy to function properly. And things like B vitamins, vitamin E, magnesium, and potassium, they're all essential for those tiny electrical signals that zip back and forth between your nerves and your muscles.
So they're like the messengers.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if those signals are disrupted, you might feel weak or shaky or even clumsy.
Now that makes me think about all those times I tripped over absolutely nothing.
Right.
Maybe I should blame my potassium levels.
This is possible.
All right, but let's move on to something a little less, shall we say, graceful.
Sure.
Dr. Ekberg, even with your minimal hair,
Yeah.
acknowledges that nutrient deficiencies can lead to hair loss.
Yeah, it's true.
So what's the connection there?
Well, hair loss is a complex issue, but certain nutrients are absolutely essential for healthy hair growth. Like what?
We're talking about vitamin B7, also known as biotin iron, vitamin D, those essential fatty acids we keep mentioning, and amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. And if your body is running low on these, your hair might become brittle, weak, and more prone to falling out.
So if you're finding more hair in your brush than usual, it might be a sign that your body is lacking some of those key ingredients.
Exactly.
Okay, and while we're on the subject of personal care, let's talk about our nails.
Sure.
Brittle or ridged nails, according to Dr. Ekberg, can be another clue that you're missing some vital nutrients.
Yeah, and here's where things get really interesting. You'll notice that a lot of the same nutrients keep popping up. We see B vitamins, iron, calcium, magnesium, and even vitamin C playing important roles in both hair and nail health.
Wow, so it really shows you how interconnected everything is.
Right.
How seemingly unrelated symptoms can actually point to some similar underlying deficiencies.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
It is.
I've definitely struggled with brittle nails in the past, especially during the winter. Yeah, it's a common problem.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does.
Now, Dr. Ekberg actually dedicates a significant portion of his video to skin health,
Okay,
and he breaks it down into 3 parts.
right.
Let's start with dry skin and eczema, something I think a lot of us can relate to.
For sure, what's going on there?
Well, dry skin and eczema often point to deficiencies in those essential fatty acids we keep talking about, along with zinc and vitamins A, D, and E.
Okay, and why are those so important for our skin?
They're all crucial for maintaining a healthy skin barrier, which you can think of as the protective shield of your skin, keeping moisture in and irritants out.
So if our skin is constantly dry or inflamed, Maybe it's a sign that our shield is weak.
Exactly. It's not doing its job as effectively.
Got it. And what about those little cracks we sometimes get at the corners of our mouths?
Oh, yeah. Those can be a sign, too.
Dr. Ekberg says those can be a sign of nutrient deficiencies. Yeah, and it's easy to overlook seemingly minor symptoms like that. But think about it. Those cracks actually indicate that your body might be struggling to heal and repair itself properly.
Okay.
And he links this particular issue to potential deficiencies in B vitamins, iron, and zinc, which are essential for mucosal tissue repair.
So something as small as a crack could be a sign of a bigger issue.
Potentially, yes.
Interesting. Okay, and while we're on the topic of things we'd rather not talk about, let's address the dreaded dandruff.
Sure.
I know I'm not the only one who's battled those pesky flakes.
Oh, absolutely.
So what's the deal with dandruff?
Well, dandruff is more than just a cosmetic concern.
Okay.
It can be a sign that your scalp isn't getting the nutrients it needs.
Interesting.
Dr. Ekberg points to deficiencies in B6, zinc, selenium, and you guessed it, those essential fatty acids again.
They're popping up everywhere.
I know, right?
That's like the common thread.
They play such an important role in so many different bodily functions.
Okay, so how are they involved in dandruff?
Well, they all play a role in regulating sebum production, which is that oily substance that keeps our scalp moisturized and protected.
So it all comes back to that protective barrier.
Exactly, whether it's on our skin or our scalp.
Wow, it's fascinating. But let's shift gears now and talk about something even more crucial.
Okay.
Our immune system.
All right.
If you're someone who seems to catch every bug going around, listen up.
Right, because a strong immune system is our best defense against the constant onslaught of germs and pathogens that we're exposed to every day.
It's like our army fighting on the front lines.
Exactly.
So what can we do to support our immune system?
Well, Dr. Ekberg emphasizes the importance of vitamins A, C, and D, as well as zinc, selenium, iron, and amino acids.
So it's like giving our troops the right ammunition.
Exactly. They need the right resources to function effectively.
Right. So if you're feeling like your immune system is constantly on overdrive, it might be a sign that it needs a little extra support in the form of those key nutrients.
Absolutely give it the fuel it needs.
What about our bones?
Oh.
Dr. Ekberg mentions bone pain and fractures as potential red flags for nutrient deficiencies.
That's right, because those can be signs that your bones are weakened.
And we always hear about calcium being important for bone health, but is there more to the story?
Oh, absolutely. While calcium is essential, it's not the only player in the bone building game.
Okay, so what else do we need?
Dr. Ekberg points out that vitamins D and K, magnesium, phosphorus, and even amino acids play crucial roles.
Wouldn't have thought of that.
And it's fascinating because bone is actually primarily mineralized protein.
Really?
Meaning those building blocks are vital for strong, healthy bones.
So it's not just about drinking our milk.
No.
It's about getting a diverse range of nutrients to support our skeletal system.
Exactly, a holistic approach.
Okay, and let's not forget about those hardworking muscles.
Oh, yes, our muscles need love, too.
Who here hasn't experienced the dreaded muscle cramp?
Oh, the worst.
Ouch. So what causes those?
Well, muscle cramp are often a sign that your electrolytes are out of whack.
Electrolytes.
Electrolytes, yeah, those essential minerals that help regulate muscle function.
Okay, so which ones are we talking about?
We're talking about deficiencies in things like calcium, magnesium, potassium, and sodium.
Those are the famous four electrolytes we always hear about.
Exactly the Fab Four.
Dr. Ekberg also mentions vitamin D as playing a role in muscle health.
That's right.
Who knew vitamin D was so multi-talented?
It really is. It plays a role in so many different bodily functions.
Amazing. Okay, speaking of multifaceted,
Yes.
let's delve into the intricate world of our nervous system.
All right, our command center?
The nervous system is like the control center of our bodies, responsible for transmitting signals throughout our entire system.
Keeps everything running smoothly.
But Dr. Ekberg links the unnerving symptom of numbness and tingling,
Oh, yeah?
especially in your hands and feet,
Yeah, that can be a sign.
to potential nutrient deficiencies.
That's right.
Okay, numbness and tingling. Now that sounds a bit alarming.
It can be.
What kind of deficiencies are we talking about here?
Well, B vitamins are crucial for nerve health, as is vitamin E and magnesium. And this might surprise you, cholesterol.
Hold on, cholesterol.
Yes, cholesterol.
I thought that was public enemy number one.
I know it gets a bad rap, but it's actually a vital component of our cell membranes, including those in our nervous system.
Really?
Yeah. Without enough, our nerves can't function properly.
Okay, so cholesterol isn't all bad.
It's all about balance.
Balance, got it.
Like so many things in health.
So true. But what about our mental health?
Oh, that's an important one.
Can nutrient deficiencies affect our mood too?
Absolutely. There's a definite connection.
Really?
Yeah, Dr. Ekberg points out that deficiencies in vitamin D, B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, and essential fatty acids can all impact mood regulation.
Wow, so there's a link between what we eat and how we feel emotionally.
It's all connected.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling down, irritable, or just off the bents, it might be worth considering whether your brain is getting the nutrients it needs.
Right. Give your brain some love.
It's fascinating how everything's so interconnected.
The body is an amazing machine.
It is. But Dr. Ekberg doesn't just focus on the symptoms.
Okay.
He also dives into the root causes of nutrient deficiencies.
Oh, right.
And he calls it the triple whammy.
The triple whammy.
Which sounds pretty ominous.
It does, doesn't it?
So what's the first whammy?
The first whammy is something I think we're all too familiar with. Processed foods.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Ekberg points out that these foods are often loaded with sugar-refined carbs and unhealthy fats, and they're stripped of their natural vitamins, minerals, and fiber.
So we end up consuming a ton of calories, but very little actual nutrition.
Right. It's like filling up your car with the wrong type of fuel. Eventually, it's going to cause problems.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. But it's not just about missing out on nutrients, right?
Yeah.
It's also about what those processed foods are doing to our bodies.
Exactly. That overload of sugar and refined carbs can lead to insulin resistance, which is basically when our cells become less responsive to insulin, the hormone that regulates our blood sugar.
Okay, so insulin resistance, that's bad.
It can lead to a whole cascade of issues, including weight gain, inflammation, and even more serious health problems down the line.
Wow, so those processed foods are really setting us up for trouble.
It's not doing us any favors.
Okay, but that's just the first whammy, right?
Right.
Dr. Ekberg also points to soil depletion as a major contributor to nutrient deficiencies.
Absolutely. This is a critical point that often gets overlooked.
So explain this one to me.
Well, think about it. Even if we're diligently choosing whole foods,
Okay.
they might not be as nutrient-packed as they used to be if the soil they're grown in is depleted.
So it's like trying to bake a cake with low-quality ingredients.
Exactly. It's simply not going to turn out as well.
Right. What are some of the factors that are causing this soil depletion?
Well, Dr. Ekberg highlights a few key culprits. Monocropping, which is the practice of planting the same crop over and over again, which depletes specific nutrients from the soil.
Yeah.
The overuse of synthetic fertilizers, which can actually disrupt the delicate balance of microorganisms in the soil. And erosion, which literally washes away the topsoil where most of the nutrients are concentrated.
So it's like we're slowly eroding the very foundation of our food system.
It's a pretty alarming thought.
It is alarming. But wait, there's a third whammy, right?
There is.
What's the final blow?
The third whammy is something we can all relate to, unfortunately. The constant stress and pollution we face in our modern lives.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right?
It feels like we're constantly bombarded with stressors from all sides, whether it's work deadlines, traffic jams, or the endless stream of news. And let's not forget about the environmental toxins we're exposed to on a daily basis.
It's a lot for our bodies to handle.
It is. So how do stress and pollution contribute to nutrient deficiencies?
Well, they actually increase our need for nutrients.
What?
Yeah, because our bodies have to work overtime to cope with the demands and detoxify from all of those harmful substances.
So not only are we potentially getting fewer nutrients from our food,
Right.
our bodies are also demanding more nutrients to function optimally under these stressful conditions.
Exactly. It's a double whammy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And Dr. Ekberg points out that the nutrient levels in our food have been steadily declining since the 1900s.
That's right.
So even if we were eating the same foods as our grandparents, we wouldn't be getting the same nutritional bang for our buck.
It's true. The quality of our food has changed.
That's concerning.
It is.
So he gives some specific examples,
It does.
stating that nutrients like calcium, iron, vitamin A, and magnesium have decreased by about 1/3 in our food supply over the past century.
That's a pretty stark reality.
It is. It paints a pretty bleak picture
It does.
of the challenges we're facing
Yeah.
when it comes to getting the nutrients we need.
It's definitely something to be aware of.
Okay, this is a lot to digest.
I know, right?
It feels like we're fighting an uphill battle.
It can feel that way.
We're dealing with processed foods, depleted soil, increased stress and pollution. And the food itself is becoming less nutritious.
It's a lot to take in.
That's a lot. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed.
I understand.
But knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely.
Now that we're aware of these issues, we can start making more informed choices to address them.
Exactly. It's about taking control of our health.
So what can we do?
Well, we can choose whole, unprocessed foods as much as possible. We can support sustainable farming practices. We can manage our stress levels. And we can advocate for change in our food system.
That's a great point. It's not just about individual choices.
Right, it's about collective action.
It's about creating a healthier, more sustainable food system for everyone.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've talked about the triple whammy.
Yes.
But Dr. Ekberg goes on to list even more specific signs of nutrient deficiencies.
He does.
And he starts with our blood health.
Okay.
He connects fatigue, low energy, and pale skin to potential deficiencies in iron, B12, B9, folate, vitamin C, and copper.
Right, because all of those nutrients are essential for producing healthy red blood cells and ensuring proper oxygen delivery throughout the body.
Okay, so why does that lead to those symptoms?
Well, when we're deficient in any of those nutrients, our bodies can't make enough of those tiny oxygen-carrying cells, and that leads to fatigue, weakness, and even that pale, washed-out look.
So it's like our blood is literally losing its vibrancy.
You could say that.
But Dr. Ekberg doesn't stop there. He also delves into vision problems, specifically reduced night vision and night blindness.
Interesting.
I hadn't really connected those issues to nutrition before.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is. So what's the connection?
Our eyes rely on specific nutrients to function optimally, particularly when it comes to seeing in low-light conditions.
Like what?
Dr. Ekberg points to deficiencies in vitamin A, vitamin E, zinc, and DHA as potential culprits.
The DHA?
Yeah, DHA.
Isn't that an omega-3 fatty acid?
It is.
I thought that was primarily important for brain health.
It is, but DHA is also a critical component of our eyes, specifically those light-sensitive cells in the back of our eyes called photoreceptors.
Oh, wow. So it's doing double duty.
Exactly.
And how much of a role does DHA play in our vision?
Well, DHA actually makes up a whopping 60% of the fatty acids in those photoreceptors.
60%.
60%. Wow, that's a pretty clear indication that DHA is doing some serious work back there.
It is essential for clear vision.
Okay, let's move on to something that might surprise you. The connection between nutrients and appetite.
Right.
This is an area that's often overlooked.
It is. A lot of people don't realize the connection.
So what's the connection?
Well, Dr. Ekberg explains how deficiencies in zinc, magnesium, vitamin B1 thiamine, and B3 niacin can actually affect our sense of taste, our digestion, and even the hormones that regulate our appetite.
Wow. So if you find yourself with a reduced appetite or feeling nauseous, it could be more than just a stomach bug.
That's right.
Your body might be saying, hey, I'm not getting what I need from this food.
So I'm not even going to bother trying to digest it. Wow, that's a powerful way to think about it.
It is.
Our bodies are constantly sending us messages.
They are.
And sometimes they're more subtle than we realize.
Exactly. We just have to learn to listen.
It makes you wonder how many other seemingly unrelated symptoms could be tied back to nutrient deficiencies.
It's a good question.
It is. But at this point, I think we all have one burning question.
What's that?
Can we just pop a multivitamin and call it a day?
The million-dollar question.
So what does Dr. Ekberg say?
Well, he believes that while multivitamins can be helpful in certain situations, they don't replace the importance of getting nutrients from whole foods.
So he's advocating for a food-first approach.
Absolutely.
Okay.
He emphasizes the concept of whole food nutrition, meaning that nutrients are best absorbed and utilized when consumed in their natural synergistic forms, just as nature intended.
It makes sense when you think about how complex food is.
Right.
There are countless compounds in whole foods working together in ways that we probably don't even fully understand yet.
Exactly. It's a symphony of nutrients.
I love that analogy. But Dr. Ekberg also delves into the specific needs of certain tissues in our bodies.
He does.
Which I found really interesting.
Okay.
He talks about high turnover tissues.
Trade turnover tissues.
Which are tissues that regenerate quickly.
Oh.
Like the gut lining, cornea, and pancreas.
Wow, so they're constantly renewing themselves?
Exactly. And they require a constant supply of specific nutrients to keep up with their rapid rate of renewal.
It's like they're constantly under construction.
Yes.
And they need the right materials to do their job effectively.
So true.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing to think about how quickly our bodies are constantly rebuilding themselves.
It is amazing.
It is. Are we giving them the right materials to work with?
That's the question we all need to ask ourselves.
It is. Well, this deep dive has certainly given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
It seems like nutrient deficiencies are much more common than we might realize.
They are.
And they can manifest in countless ways.
It's all about paying attention to the signs.
And listening to our bodies. It's incredible.
It is.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of this fascinating topic.
There's always more to learn.
That's for sure.